As the channel is evolving, I really appreciate your feedback, and from the previous videos, you guys have mentioned two major things that you want to see more of, or in this case, less of. You want to see less ads. So from this video forward, I'll be doing less in-video ads, so you'll see less of it. You've got plenty more time just to watch the video. The second thing you wanted is shorter intros. So besides this video, because I have some housekeeping to do, the intros will be much shorter as well. So I really appreciate all of your feedback in the comments down below. If you've got anything else you want to suggest, of course, leave them down there. I read all of the comments. Quickly on to the housekeeping. You can skip this if you want, but I suggest for many of you beginners that you do watch it. I always have timestamps in the description down below if you want to skip to certain parts in the video. Let me get the annoying stuff out of the way, and it's just one big thing. The one big don't message me on Facebook or Instagram asking for specific buy recommendations of stocks or cryptocurrencies. I'm not going to mention specific things. I'm sure if you watch the videos enough, you can figure out what it is that I like the look of and what I'm buying, areas that I'm looking for different support and resistance areas for buys and sells. So if you're looking at the videos and you're learning and you're asking questions about educating yourself, then you'll figure it out. But I'm not going to specifically give you, go and buy this stock. Like, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't want to get myself into that sort of trouble, and I don't think you guys should be asking that. I'm just going to ignore those comments from now on. If you do have questions about educating yourself more on stocks or cryptocurrencies, my email is in the description down below. You can always hit me up on that. I also help people out, one-on-one coaching. There's crypto crash courses and basic stock market education. So if you want to know more, I've got my email address in the description. You can hit me up there. My channel has become very popular lately, and I only have you guys to thank. I can't thank you enough. And the only way I can thank you is by using your requests and your suggestions on different stocks and cryptocurrencies that you guys want to see. Now, of course, there are so many that I can't get through in every single video. So what I've asked in other videos is list them down in the comments, which stocks it is or which cryptos it is that you want to see with the symbol. And you guys have a look, like up whichever stock or crypto it is that you want to see more of, and I'll use those stocks in the upcoming videos. I want to say a special thank you to the Team Full Send guys, you guys watching the videos right through to the end. If you also want to get it mentioned in the video, be sure to watch through and I'll mention how you can do that later in the video. We're almost done with the housekeeping. There have been quite a lot of new subscribers, so I think it's important to share just a little bit of background, especially when I'm getting questions about what it is that I've done in the past and what I'm currently doing now. So if you guys do have questions for something like a Q&A video, let me know in the description, anything that's on your mind. One of the important questions which has popped up recently is, what is my history? What is my background? Like, why is it that I'm on YouTube talking about technical analysis? And not to go into a huge depth here, but basically I started technical analysis about 10 years ago in August of 2010. And since that point, I have dived into a lot of technical analysis, setting up my own plans. I didn't buy plans off people and use those for a period of time until they stopped working. I created my own plans. So that's where my history has been with trading. I've also been in property investing and property development through Queensland. And that's been my income focus for the last 10 years, just investing, trading, property, and other things around that nature. Like I said, if you guys want to know more about me, leave your questions in the comments and I may do a Q&A video coming up soon. Now the housekeeping is done, let's get on with the video. And of course, we have it set up in 3 parts like every other video. We have the intro, we have the guts of it, and then we have the summary. Now, with the intro, we usually go through our rules, but you guys should know those by now. Cut out the noise, keep educating ourselves, and keep repeating the process. That's always part 1. We want to review that. Part 2 is the stock analysis. Now we've got so many stocks, but I'm just going to choose the top 2 which have been the most popular, and those 2 are BRN and KGN. For the next video, I'll do the other popular ones, which were BUB and OPY. If you've got some other stocks which are on your mind, leave them in the comments. Let's move on to BRN. Now, just quickly before we dive into BRN, let's have a look at the ASX stock watch list. And these are the stocks we looked at previously: ZIP, REA, EML, and so on. These next lot are stocks that you guys have all mentioned. So you can see a long list here, KGN, on and on and on and on, all the way down. So that is the list. And obviously I'm not gonna put all these in every single video. Go and like up the ones you love. Lots of likes here, that's my little comment. BRN, BUB, NEA, and then we've got OPY as well. Let's move over to BRN. Now, BRN, I've got a little boomer rant here. I'm no boomer, but I don't know, I'm just using the cool words. Anyway, boomer rant. You guys, you can see this chart here. I'm not sure why it is that everyone wants to jump aboard a moving train. So I've got here, do you want to learn to trade and invest like the wealthy, or do you want to play the pleb game and chase the market? I think I should probably be a little bit softer on this as well. I know a lot of people are beginners, so hit me up in the comments. I can take it. I've got thick skin if you want to have a go at me. All good. All I'm saying here is the time that I heard about BRN was when the stock price was sitting somewhere around 15 cents. Now, of course, that's not so bad when we look back over the history of it. It's been up around 30 cents. It's better off buying it at 15 than 30, right? But this has been on a trend since early March. Why is it now, just in the last 2-3 weeks, that everyone is talking about it? It's usually because it's in the news, and the news is showing you this stock more often, or other people are talking about it more as it becomes more popular. But as it becomes more popular, the price continues to escalate. So it's like jumping aboard a moving train. We want to get into a stock or into a position of any sort of investment before the major crowd has seen it. That's why I've got here, do you want to learn to trade or invest like the wealthy? I can't imagine the wealthy buying into something that is seeing its all-time highs, or at least the smart money anyway. I'm sure a lot of wealthy people would still buy into something at the tops, just like people bought into Bitcoin at 20 grand, but we want to get into this beforehand. So how do we spot trends before they have taken off from the station? So I've just got here just a simple trend line. I'm no genius at technical analysis. I've just been doing this a lot longer than other people. I've gone into trading plans which were way over complex, and all I'm trying to do here is just break it down to something super simple that I can just use at a drop of a hat, that I can just see things straight away. And this is just a little pattern here. You can see it starting to consolidate. Essentially here, the price has risen up, it's come back and up and back, and it's just consolidating. People are buying this up at higher prices, and the sellers are selling it at just slightly lower prices, but eventually the energy in this market, it winds up like an elastic band, and then it takes off. And so you don't want to be buying something as the energy has all expended from the stock. We want to be buying something in this area. If not, trying to find it earlier on, but that's quite a difficult game. Imagine what you were feeling or thinking in the market at this point in time. Now, this is all market sentiment, market psychology stuff. You're not going to see this in the normal fundamentals about looking at business books and profit and loss and ratios and statements and all this sort of stuff. And it's not essentially in basic technical analysis either, although we do try and understand market sentiment within patterns. So I know that's like a long-winded understanding of this, but this is essentially what I'm thinking when I'm looking at charts. And I want to try and share that with you guys as well, as opposed to just dropping on a tool and saying, hey, look at this is what it did. This is what I'm thinking. It's what I've learned from reading other books, in particular, like the book I shared in last week's video. The book was titled Trading in the Shadows of the Smart Money. It's super interesting, and it goes through each of these basically bar by bar, what the market's thinking, what's going on in the market, and it gets you to relive the story of potentially what's happening so that you can see into the future. So with that said, for BRN, next things I wrote here are, ask yourself, why weren't you talking about this stock at 3 cents in March 2020? Why weren't we talking about it here at the very low? I want to know that, because what was going on? What was happening in the news? Why weren't we buying it at 3 cents and now it's sitting at 17 or 18 cents? Why only now? Why 4 months later, after approximately 466% increase, are we talking about it? There's a lot of big, easy gains to be made there in 4 months. I began looking into BRN as the market was opening today on Tuesday, 28th of July at 10 a.m. And we were just sitting on this bar here, right? So this was yesterday's bar, and it closed at 17 cents. I didn't see this bar come up, but we're in the afternoon now. I'm filming this at 3. The market's going to close in about an hour and a half. And that looks like a very strong daily reversal signal. This is what's called a key reversal in bar charts. And on the candles, let's have a look at that. Candles, that is a shooting star. So in both technical analysis terms, candles or bars, this is a bear signal. Now, you can't use the signal as a standalone signal, but if you add it in with the volume and the fact that we've been on an uptrend for 4 months and several other factors, you could start to see that this might not be the best time to be buying BRN if you are setting up for your own trade. Now, if you're looking to invest in this in the long term, then you're going to have to do a little bit more research on this, or maybe hold out for some other levels. If you're not concerned if this thing is going to fall back to potentially the old resistance, which could become support, that's another big rule. Old resistance becomes support, and old support becomes resistance. So that basically is at 13 cents here. So this could fall from 17 to 13. You probably don't want to see it break these levels and fall any further, because that could set it back some time before it would take off again. But if it was me looking at this trade, it's not something that I would be buying now. I would be holding out, I would be patient, I would be setting my alerts at around 14 cents and just seeing whether this is going to come back and test the old resistance. Let's take a quick look at the weekly chart and use our Fibonacci retracement tool like we do with every other chart. Tack it to the bottom, stick it to the top, 50%, what do you know, comes out 12.5 cents, a great place for support to be lining up in the future. So to give you a summary on that, overall, I would not be buying BRN at this stage. Not to say that it's not a good buy in the future, but right now I think it just needs some time to reset, to build up some energy again in the market and do some consolidation. Potentially it could be a buy in the near future, but I would definitely be putting that one on my watch list if it is the sector in the industry that I want to pay attention to. All right, the big one that everyone's been looking at, Justin has covered it in his channel with all the fundamentals, KGN. Let's have a look at Kogan. Again, this one has had a big increase from the lows in late March from $3.45, and currently we're sitting at $16.54. That's a huge increase. Now, I've got my notes again for this one. Why is everyone looking at this after it has shot up nearly 400%? Why did Kogan dump in January before the market topped in February? So we can just look back here. This is the January top in Kogan, but we know the market's topped at around February. Why was it dumping before that period? Probably not that big of a concern now. Maybe it was an ex-dividend day. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments down below what was going on to Kogan at that time, but we also got a March low. Now, I think Kogan's a little bit different here because the trend has been pretty strong. I think everyone would consider that a very strong uptrend. The difference here is that we haven't seen any signals that this could be the end of the trend. For me, I would be looking at these lows on the weekly chart. I don't want to see these lows get taken out here and obviously here, but this is way too far down for us even to be worried about. We would definitely know the trend is over if it got this far. This one's a little bit closer to the money, and I'd even stretch it down to a 3-day chart to look at any other levels which people found some value in and they bought it up from a low point. So you can see that these are basically swings, right? The market hasn't reversed and then this went lower than the previous day. So that is a strong area of buying. Although it doesn't support it in the volume, which is down there, I'd still be looking at that as one signal. Potentially even this area right here if we wanted to get in a little bit closer. But the other thing to Kogan is that this could just be consolidation at the upper end of the current bull market in KGN. What I'm saying there is this market could just be finding its support and resistance levels again. It might bounce around like this and eventually start to create some tighter bands and take off again. We don't know that yet, and I'd probably be looking at the areas around here, so that's around $13.50, $14 as a level that I don't want to see break. That would basically invalidate my thoughts of this consolidating after a strong bull market. So the last comment on KGN are the monthly close is coming up. We're on the 28th and the month end is the 31st. I don't want to see this close below 16.50. That's what I got here. If that happened, then I would see that as my first sign of some potential weakness. So that's the monthly close, right? The next sign, which is much further down the chart from where we are now, is at $13.71. That's the weekly low. I don't want to see that broken either. We basically want to see it range between these levels of the current high of around $18.60 and that low point of the weekly chart at around $13.70. As for the 3-day chart, we don't want to see it break $16. So this one's slightly different to BRN. Obviously, it's in all-time high territory. I think it is consolidating at this point, but it's still too early to tell. We don't want to see those levels broken. I hope that gives you some clear idea of the thoughts on KGN. If it doesn't, let me know any other questions in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer those for you guys and potentially continue to cover KGN if you guys are interested in it. Let me know as well in the comments. Just lastly, before I wrap up Kogan, you can see here I've got the fib tool. This is stretched from its low point in 2016 to its previous all-time high in 2018, and this fib is just run from the bottom to the top and then back to the bottom, so that's 100% range. This then projected another 100% above those highs, comes out almost to the cent. So that is like a price cluster, is what it's called in technical analysis. That's a doubling of the previous range projected from the top of the old all-time high, and that gives us $18.68 that you can see right here, and the current top is 1865. That's pretty incredible mathematics numbers that are all working out in the favor of this being a potential intermediate top, if not a top for a little bit longer. That's your two picks, BRN, KGN. Thank you for leaving your request down below. If you guys want to see more of that, be sure to like the video up and let me know your stock selections in the comments down below. Remember, you can catch me on Facebook and Instagram. Again, the links are in the description down below. Thanks again for watching. I've got another ASX video coming out this week, so be sure to subscribe and I'll see you guys there at the next video. Stay tuned, and until next time, have more fun and get more done.